What is going on, guys? It is Blink here, back with a new guide. So in this guide, we'll be explaining how to play out endgame situations when your teammate gets eliminated. Also, the V-Bucks giveaway is still going on, so make sure to visit the link in the description to enter. The giveaway winner will be announced on my Twitter once it's over, so make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications as opposed to Amazon gift code in the comments every time I upload. By turning on notifications, you'll have a way better chance of getting here first and redeeming that code. Anyways, guys, let's get to this guide. So in this first situation, there were 5 players left, and one of the teams I ended up fighting. I tried getting some edit peek sniper kills, but they weren't peeking out at all. My objective is now to down one of the players across from me, that way I can jump pad to them for the 1v1 situation. You always want to try to down a player's teammate first before pushing. You'll then want to push to not let the revive to happen because you now have a 1v1 situation. Now, these players weren't giving me any sort of head peeks, and it was time to move as the zone was coming in. So I hid inside the barn and waited to see if these players would peek their heads out. There was still another 2-player team, so these players aren't going to keep all their focus on me. A lot of the times you'll be able to wait until one of them peek their head out, because they now have no clue where I am, so their focus is towards the next team they see. Most players will forget about you and start spraying at the next team. Your objective will usually always be to down one of these players before pushing. So they did peek their heads out, which gave me a chance to hit my snipe. Once I downed one of them, I went for the push for that 1v1 and caught this player reviving his teammate. Now, I went right through his materials because he built it while his player model was in it. I instantly went right back up to the top because the last few players might be pushing as they think I'm low on HP. Went to look, and as they peeked over, they were already pushing. Now, I already had the high ground, so I tried to apply the pressure. You have to be careful when shooting at one player as you don't want to get sniped by the other. One of them pushed and the other didn't. That's perfect because in most 1v2 situations, you want both players to fight you separately. Sometimes you'll have to block yourself from one of the players in order to fight a 1v1, and other times you'll get the 1v1 without needing to build for it, just like in this scenario. This player pushed me and his teammate was way behind. Anytime you get pushed by one of the teammates, take the fight as soon as you can. It's a temporary 1v1 because his teammate can't actually see you. So in the end, you end up fighting 2 1v1 fights, which is exactly what you want to do. Now, in this next example, I hit a pretty critical shot onto this player, and he ended up jump padding away. I did the same, but his teammate started shooting at me. The thing is that his teammate actually thought I left and forgot about me. One tip I want to give you guys is if you're inside a fort and there's another fort a little taller than yours with no one inside it, then build yourself a little higher or take over that fort. The reason for this is because you never want to really be lower than a structure right beside you because players can easily sneak up onto you without you knowing. Now, I built towards her, so she could have heard me easily. But a great example is, if you build above someone's fort and you eliminate them, then you take it over. You want to destroy the platforms that you used to build above the fort you took over. That way you avoid anyone using your materials to get up to you. It just avoids getting sneaked up on. Now, I did down this player and his teammate was nowhere to be found. So I jumped out of wait and saw him right in behind me. Now, he built above me and I decided to wait right under. I actually ended up seeing another player around and I was wondering where he went. What ended up happening was he started fighting the player above. When you notice the player above shooting at someone, then push as they aren't paying attention. I'll show you guys a super good example in the next scene about pushing players that aren't paying attention. I got above and it was too late for him to notice. The player he was fighting was somewhere down below and I got a nice jumping headshot onto him as he had no clue I jumped down. Once again, anytime players are shooting, they're usually not paying attention, and that's when you push. So, this last team caught me in the lake and just kept spraying at me. Anytime you're getting sprayed at, you want to do a few things. Utilize that right side peeking angle whenever you can. Build yourself cover as you keep backing up, because you can then quickly peek out for a snipe without getting your material shot out. And utilize the edit peeking as your opponents won't expect it. When you're building backwards, your opponents basically think you're panicking as you're building, so they get more comfortable peeking out in the open. This is something you should never do in a 2v1. Never get comfortable because if the player you're fighting knows how to snipe, he'll hit the snipe. So your objective is to always try downing one of the players before pushing, exactly like I did here. I can now push and not allow the revive to happen for that 1v1. Now, yeah, I did take a lot of damage because I thought the shotgun would have eliminated him. If you're going to jump off, connect a platform to their materials, that way you don't take crazy fall damage like I did. So I boxed myself in, and this is a great way of getting above my opponent. He started shooting at my wall because he thought I was hiding, and at that moment, build yourself up. This can happen pretty often where opponents will drop down to try replacing your wall, and what you want to do is build right above them. Now, you've got the high ground and you can apply the pressure. This player tried jetpacking above me and wasn't really avoiding my shots. So yeah, he was a confused little fella for sure. These last few examples will unfortunately have no cinematics because I wasn't able to grab them as the latest update corrupted them. Unfortunately, has to end off with no cinematics. So we'll explain wall spammers and the right time to push. So these players would not stop spamming my walls. The issue was that every time I placed a staircase down, I would be right in their view because they were much higher than me. So I healed up and went for the push. Now, the only reason I went for the push is because they were fighting the last opponents, which gives me a better chance of getting in behind and catching a few of them off in the open. Got a snipe on one of them and it was a 1v1 from here. Tried applying pressure onto this last opponent to avoid the revive. I should have actually eliminated his down teammate to make it a permanent 1v1. So I tried getting off a heal and had to cancel it as I was in a big risk since he's got the high ground on me and has to take one shot to eliminate me. Sometimes you'll have to cancel that revive and just fight it out. He kept the pressure on me as I tried building for that cover. So remember what I said in my last video. Try taking shots back, that way you'll have more time to heal as it will slow down his gameplay. If you're not applying pressure back, then he's going to get way too comfortable with the push and thinks you're very scared of him. I did end up downing him and I actually thought he never ended up getting his teammate up. Had I eliminated his down teammate, the game would have been over, so that's where I went wrong. Now, I gotta try fighting off his teammate. So I made sure to get a little higher than all the other platforms, that way I can heal and third person peek as I'm healing. Made sure to hold the high ground as the circle was coming in. Built a few platforms and utilized the edit peek to see if I can get a shot onto this opponent. He sat under a few roofs and I tried getting an angle on him after breaking his materials, but he actually ended up trying to build towards me, which I shot out his materials right away. I actually thought I eliminated him as I'm not sure how he survived that far of a fall, so I was pretty confused where he could have been. I used the jump pad to spot and I never used it to get down because when the glider deploys, you're dropping down pretty slow. There's literally nowhere you could go for cover, so how to glide it down, that's some easy shots for my opponent. By connecting my materials to the others down below, I'm able to make it down much quicker and give my opponent less of a chance to take shots. Now, before we end it off, I want to show you guys one quick fighting example of two good 1v1 fights. This player pushed me first and his teammate pushed me a few seconds later. The issue was that they never pushed together to pressure me. They pushed at separate times, which gives me two 1v1 situations. So to conclude this guide on fighting these 1v2s, if you're the 1 versus the 2, you want to try your best to avoid being visible to both players. Try your best to block one of them off, that way you're able to fight two 1v1s. Now, if you're fighting a solo with your teammate, then try staying close to your teammate at all times. That way your opponent's gotta try fighting both of you at the same time. Well guys, that's it for this guide. Hopefully I've helped some people out, and a like and a sub will be greatly appreciated as it does help me out a lot. Anyways guys, thanks for watching and hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you on the next one.